to look at the Inquisition Museum, enjoying some church bells ringing out very loudly. This is the other side of the church. Very symbolic, very religious town. Beautiful town square. The Victory Monument. You feel this is a taste of authentic Malta, maybe more so than Valletta. Very easy pace of life. Okay, we're here at the Inquisitor's Palace, formed in Norman times to serve as law courts, and from 1798 was the seat of the dreaded Inquisition. Before we go in, just opposite there is this amazing building. Let's get a bit of a closer look. Another architectural masterpiece. So they were looking for heresy from those who strayed from the Roman Catholic traditions, often by brutal torture to get people to admit what they'd done. This area has more of a church-like quality to it. Video of the courtyard where I'm out here, and this seems, again, a very restful place. Again, totally at odds of some of the things that were going on there. So a quick 500 years of history. So under Order of St. John, it's generally considered pretty good guys. You feel, again, I don't know, that a few people have been locked in these sort of areas in their time, without much food, and wild appearance, wild, unkept appearance. I don't know, but I get that impression. To be fair, could just be for the gardening equipment. What would I know? The grand staircase, and what seems like Rose's operatic dulcet tones in the background to ward any evil spirits away, just like a morning at the Wellspring Chapel. So the staircase is very much the centrepiece of this masterpiece. So the Chancery, here would sit. Now I'm going to edit this slightly. We've got Lady Gaga in a most shocking video playing. I don't want to show too much of it, but it's just, that's a glimpse. It's just weird. I've no idea what she's doing here. So, cut this a bit short. So it looks like when you give your key in at David Lloyd or Ballantyne's, you get a locker. Kind of strange place. Right, after 3 hours of watching this video, I better go. No one can explain it to me, even the people here helping out. I've got no idea why it's on the screen. Maybe they've been hacked. Racing altar here. It then reminds me of working at Peter Jones, where you've got this sign saying staff, like working in the I don't know, the furnishing department. So that's kind of a bit weird. More art, Inquisition art, some strange noises as well. I think I heard some of those sort of noises from the hotel last night, but no idea what that's about. There's an exhibition here about witnesses who are brought in, often false witnesses, sort of things people were tried for. This, I've seen this extremely cruel torture. The guy is made to sit on that and it cuts into him, which I think answers he's not getting a fair trial. That is one of the most excruciating punishments you could get. After a while, it literally cuts into you. I think you get. It was basically torture. She's laughing. She's not a very good actress. The whole museum has got bizarre after the Lady Gaga incident. But yeah, her feet have been. She's not. Yeah, she's trying not to laugh. They're tickling her feet. All turn on each other to save their own skins. It was a cruel, barbaric process. Again, he's on that horse. There were similar ones that were filled with hot water and nails, etc. That is literally cutting into his insides. I'm told this is one of the most barbaric tortures ever. So quite unsettling. I don't really want to see too much more. You've got this strange hypocrisy of very holy, ordered life, and downstairs people being tortured and locked in small spaces until they admitted their guilt, basically whether they were guilty or not, then executed or put into, very cruel, humiliating circumstances.
I've actually come to the cells and the tribunal, etc., which I suppose are certainly the most touristy, macabre bit. Bear in mind there would have been candlelight on the wall here, flickering. These are the cell areas. We're going down to the cells down there in a second. Firstly, this is the warden's room. Up those steps. We'll see the facilities there. So this was actually the warden's room. He was a layman chosen at the discretion of the Inquisitor. He moved from office on being inefficient or through old age. So I wouldn't have a chance then. Quite Spartan, but obviously compared to being in a cell, pretty luxurious. Again, everything's very small. People must have been smaller because I can't, I'm 5'7", I have to duck underneath here. This was the tribunal. Tribunal room we saw in that video earlier. The Inquisitor would sit there. The guy would be taking notes. Very scary to think all the things that have gone on there. There's tribunal stairs from this angle. It was used as a prison cell, a walking room, a torture chamber, depending on what they needed. The torture room, this is that sort of like a vaulting horse that we saw, where the guy has to sit on there and it's cutting into all sorts of part of his middle body, if you get the drift. Like a giant Toblerone, but it was said to be one of the most painful punishments ever. Had to sit astride that, and I'm told it was absolutely excruciating. These were the foot squeezers we saw that poor lady being put in. So people be put in there and then turned. We know how much feet can hurt. The rope as well used on that video to suspend prisoners in very unusual positions where the blood would rush to parts of the body or be cut off from other parts of the body, making it very, very uncomfortable. So you'd be suspended from that, maybe hog-tied. Be very, very unpleasant. Most of the time they don't want you to die. They've got other plans for you. Again, everything's low. People must have been smaller in these days. I have to stoop to get through here. Strangely, this is better equipped than I thought it would be, but I'm sure not in the 15th century, 16th century, 17th century, etc. I'm sure they would just be on the floor, maybe later. I think the beds are a little bit of a red herring. I think you're more likely to be incarcerated down there in the hole. Papillon vibes it is, really. Again, I'm not going to get through the door. They're very low. Also, as I said, I think the beds would be a pretty recent addition to the comfort of any of these cells. More cells along here. Remember, these would have been candle lights. It would have been very eerie. Again, the door is so small. It's very hard to go through. When I put the camera in, you can see. The prisoner managed to dig his way through the walls for 8 times in less than a year. This was possible since the cells had not been originally constructed to serve for that purpose and were very fragile. Mazzarini constructed 12 prison cells, 8 of which survive, and the walls touching with the street outside was built anew and strengthened. The exit from the prison section led to a flight of stairs through which prisoners could be led to the tribunal without having to pass through the main staircase of the palace. So we just saw Mezzaranos was the last major intervention in the prisons of the palace, which finally provided the building with a prison complex worthy of its name. And there we have it. Ironically, I think it needed seeing the cells at the end to put a bit of perspective on things that we've been seeing. It got very, very heavy at one stage. I think that was with the religious symbolism, you know, can get too much. So I'll cut this and not much of that will remain on it. And in the end, very insightful and interesting visit.
Teardrops on the city bed, school